What if you could get a full-sized, full-suspension, fat-tire electric bike for under $2,000? That's the promise of the Himiway D5 2.0 that I'm riding today. Now, yes, in the market, there are a lot of fat tire e-bikes around this price point, but this one promises more customization, more off-road capability while still boasting a step-through frame. In this review, I'll tell you everything you need to know. We'll look at all the components, then I'll take it for a ride, and finally get into the pros and cons and talk about who should buy this, where it falls short, and perhaps where it excels. But first, let's take a closer look. Now first, Himiway as a brand, they've actually been around for some time, and in fact, their first model was a fat tire e-bike, and their original fat tire e-bike sold quite well because they were offered at an attractive price point. And now, many years later, we have a full suspension fat tire e-bike with a lot of features that we certainly didn't see back then. Let's talk pricing. The Himiway D5 2.0 comes in at $19.99, though this one comes in at $21.99. That's all thanks to the camo colorway. Let me know if you like that in the comments section. Besides the camo, you can get this in midnight blue or space gray. If you opt for the high step, you can get it in olive green. And if you plan to purchase any Himiway e-bike, do me one quick favor. Just use our link down in the description or scan the QR code on your screen before you buy. It's free and makes videos like this one possible. Thanks for your support. For those that want a traditional high step, you can get that as well, though I'm a big fan of the increased accessibility of the Step-Thru. 19.3 inches right here. They say can fit riders down to 5'1" up to 6'5". I'm 6 feet tall with a 32-inch inseam, and I can't get full leg extension. And that's due to this being a shorter seat post. Fat tire e-bikes are heavy, though this one especially so, thanks to the rear suspension. It weighs in at 92 pounds, though has a massive weight capacity of 400 pounds. Next, let's jump into all the components. So first off, the 26 by 4 inch wide tires, and we have a brand that we don't often see. These are from Maxxis, and they're called the Minion FBF, which I can only assume stands for Fat Bike Front. And in the rear, of course, Fat Bike Rear. There's plastic fenders, full coverage in the rear. It's a bolt-on front axle. The hydraulic disc brakes are from Tektro, 180 millimeter rotors. The front fork is an RST guide, 100 millimeters of travel, preload adjustment on the left, lockout on the right. Let's talk about the rear suspension right away. It is adjustable by adjusting this ring. Himiway claims it has 130 millimeters of travel. This is what you can expect. Moving up to the head tube, we have some nice cable management, 4 bolts for mounting a front rack. The handlebars are slightly swept back, and you have a 60-degree adjustable stem. The front light runs off the main battery, is attached to the stem plate, and is a 120 lux with some side visibility. And in the rear, you have running lights. When you brake, it goes brighter, and turn signals. There's ergonomic rubber locking grips, matching Tektro hydraulic disc brake levers with motor cutoffs, and Shimano's 8-speed trigger shifter. Moving on to the display and control pad, throttle located beneath the controls, power button on top, battery capacity in the top left, speed front and center, power bars on each side, trip information and odometer in the bottom. Hitting the M button will give you additional information, average speed, max speed, watts and time, calories and CO2 reduced, torque from the rider and your cadence, and back to trip and odometer. In the bottom right, you have your pedal assist level, off, Eco Plus, Eco, Tour, Sport, and Turbo. Hitting the power button will allow you to go into auto pedal assist. You can turn the lights on by holding pedal assist up. The screen goes dim, indicator at the top. You can engage walk mode by holding pedal assist down. Turn signals can be turned on hitting the left or right button. Hit it again to turn it off. To get into the advanced settings, hold the M button. You have to enter the password, which Himiway provides. Lots of settings in here. So first we have general settings. You can clear your trip,
set the default assist level, change how auto assist is enabled, modify the screen brightness, change the units, change the auto power off time, have the voltage displayed, and change the interface color. In assist system setting, you can select e-bike class 1, 2, or 3. Class 1 will be 20 miles per hour, top speed, no throttle. Class 2 will enable the throttle, still top speed of 20 miles per hour. Class 3 changes the top speed to 28 miles per hour and technically disables the throttle. More on that in a second. You can change the max assist speed, which is nice, and you can change the walk speed. In assist mode setting, lots of things to adjust to customize the bike. Assist torque setting allows you to change the max torque in each pedal assist level, all the way up to the 90 Newton meters that the motor is capable of. There's an assist ratio setting. This allows you to set the ratio of motor output torque to the rider pedaling torque for each level. You have power response tuning, power start, powering, and power end. Allows you to change it from most rapid to smoothest. In assist sensor switch, this allows you to change between the cadence sensor or the torque sensor. More on that in the upcoming first-person riding footage. And here's the throttle setting, where you can actually enable it in class 3 and set it all the way up to 28 miles per hour. Though if you want to keep this a legal electric bike, you'll want to leave it at 20. Then you have safety setting. This allows you to customize the tail light, which is cool. And so there's various settings for when the lights are just on or you're braking. Then there's system and over the air, so this bike can be updated over time. And finally, contact us.
There's 4 mounting points on the down tube, perhaps for mounting the best water bottle cage on the market, available at shop.ebikeescape.com. To remove the battery, keel on the left, turn left and push in, and you can pull out the battery. This is a 48 volt, 14.4 amp hour battery. You can get an idea of the current capacity right here. The battery itself is certified to UL2271. The entire bike's electronics are certified to UL2849. And if you travel with your e-bike or just looking for a nice storage solution at home, I highly recommend a battery bag. This is the one we sell, zippered closure. It also has handles. And if you're going on some crazy adventures, you can mount this to your rear rack on your e-bike, maybe even strap some stuff to the top. This and other high quality e-bike accessories available at shop.ebikeescape.com. Your purchase supports the channel, so thanks for your support. To charge the battery up, they give you a 3 amp charger, 5 hours to charge up the battery from empty. You can do so here when the battery is removed, or by removing this rubber cover when it's in the bike. Other included accessories are class stickers, some extra bolts, wrenches, and a multi-tool. To put the battery back in, terminals first, bring the battery in, I heard it click, and you can remove the key. There's metal pedals, and this might look a little bit weird to you, but what's nice is this is an access panel for the controller. That should make any maintenance down the line a little bit easier. There's a memory foam, wider than most saddle. This is still a bolt-on rear rack, but it is paint matched and it is MIC compatible. What that means is this rack is compatible with a whole load of accessories, from child seats to rack-mounted bags, different sizes. We sell a ton at shop.ebikeescape.com. And what's great is it's easy to click in whatever you're mounting back here. Also offers a little bit of extra security. There's a rear-mounted kickstand. In the rear is a 750 watt motor with 90 Newton meters of torque. We'll see how it does up our large hill climb test. Gearing is 8 speeds, 13 to 32 teeth in the rear, and a large 52 tooth single-sided chainring up front. Chainstay protector, nice internal cable management on both sides. Quick disconnect for the motor, and the derailleur is Shimano Altus. With that, let's get into some first-person riding footage and see how the Himiway D5 2.0 performs. All right, let's get started with our throttle-only test. Just a note, with pedal assist turned off, no access to the throttle, but full access in any pedal assist level up to 20. It does come shipped as a Class 2 electric bike. And yes, you can go and change the throttle top speed to 28 miles per hour. I tested it and it did take me 28, but just a note, that doesn't really make it an e-bike, more for off-road use only. All right, here we go. Throttle only, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Gentle takeoff, But ramping up now, 14, 16, and there's 20 miles an hour. The motor on this bike is extremely quiet. Now, whether that is because the motor isn't very powerful, we'll see how it does on our hill climb test, but I almost feel like I can hear the tires more than that motor. All right, now let's go through the various pedal assist levels. Now, this does have a cadence sensor and a torque sensor. What's the difference? Well, a cadence sensor simply detects whether you're pedaling, and if you are, then it will give you the amount of motor power that you have selected in the various pedal assist levels. And the torque sensor, which we'll talk about in a little bit, really responds to how much effort you're putting in and kind of amplifies it. It's a more natural riding experience. So perhaps if you want more power easier, you go with the cadence sensor. If you want a little bit more smoother power delivery, you go with the torque sensor. All right, I am in Eco Plus, the first level of pedal assist. And in first gear, nice and gentle cadence. The cadence sensor is very responsive, and I'm able to cruise very easily around 10 miles an hour, 11. I did shift up into third gear, so it's a little bit easier to provide power. Let's go into Eco. I do have this set, so the top speed is 28 miles per hour. And already in Eco, we're hitting 20 miles an hour, or close to it. 19, 20. All right, and now we're in Tour. I'm in sixth gear. I'm going to shift up into seventh gear. And just to note, all the settings are stock. You can certainly customize it, turn down the power, as you saw earlier with the customization in the display, and already hitting 25 miles an hour in Tour. So personally, I'd probably turn down the power. 25. Still in seventh gear, able to provide power still. All right, let's go into sport. Hitting some wind here. Going about 23, 24, 25. Still in seventh gear, able to provide power still. 26. All right, stepping up into turbo now. All right, eighth gear, 27. And there's 28 miles an hour without breaking a sweat, 29 according to the GPS. And the way they have this geared, they did a good job. Certainly a faster cadence at 28, but I can still provide leg pressure. And speaking of putting pressure on those legs, let's talk about the torque sensor, which is going to be my preference for riding any electric bike. Sir, I have it in Eco Plus. And first gear, and nice smooth response from that motor. Very easy to cruise 8 miles an hour. I'm going to shift up just so I can put a little bit more pressure on my legs, not too much though. Third gear, cruising at 11 miles an hour. Now, here's the difference between the torque and the cadence sensor. If I put in a little bit more power, now I am still in the lowest level of pedal assist, so I'm not getting a ton of extra power, but that power bar is going up just a little bit, and I'm able to hit 14 miles an hour. Let's go into Eco, fourth gear here. Cruising at 14 miles an hour, a little bit more leg power, and able to hit closer to 20 here, 18 miles an hour. What I've noticed with this torque sensor is it's pretty easy to get more power from the motor. They don't make you work for it a whole lot, if you will. Of course, they have the customization in the settings. All right, jumping into Tour, fourth gear. So 16 miles an hour, not a problem. A little bit more leg power. Shift up to fifth gear. Moderate amount of effort. Able to hit 21 miles an hour, no problem. All right, and next, Sport. Fifth gear, we'll see what the cruising speed is. So now able to cruise easily at around 20 miles an hour. Let's shift up to sixth gear. A little bit more leg power. 22, 24. All right, next turbo. Let's see how hard it is to hit 28 miles an hour with the torque sensor. First, we'll see what speed I can comfortably cruise at. Shift up to seventh gear. All right, so no problem, 24 miles an hour. All right, and a little bit more leg power here, 25. Not even that much, and we're gonna hit 28. All right, now this does have auto pedal assist. So I'm going to engage that by just hitting the power button. And let's see how this feels. At least when I'm riding an electric bike, I kind of like the lower pedal assist levels to really allow me to get that workout and have the motor not work too hard. And already in the auto pedal assist level, I'm already hitting 20, so I don't know how I could go slower really. So I don't know how useful this is. I can see if I can hit 28. So yeah, going to get close to it at least. There's 28. So I think the idea of an auto pedal assist is interesting. I think in practice it's a little bit more difficult, because what if I just wanted to put a little bit of effort in and go at a slower pace? Well, I'd really prefer to be in a lower pedal assist level, but I'm cruising at 19 miles an hour in the tunnel, according to the display. GPS not reading accurately there. So it's there if you want to try it, but it wouldn't be something that I think is very valuable. And what's cool about a bike like this is where the trail ends, at least currently. With these fat tires and the full suspension, this bike is very comfortable. The nice wide seat provides comfort, but you can really feel that rear suspension. Certainly not a bike that you're going to take on single track or anything, but off-road, trails behind your house if you're lucky enough, maybe some fire roads, this bike is going to be perfect. Geometry-wise, I already talked about the seat post just being too short for tall riders like myself. I do like the swept-back handlebars, the lock-on grips. It's a very comfortable riding position for sure. I will test out the suspension a little bit more. This is a little green single track, and over the rocks, man, the suspension is quite good, I would say. Sometimes on these full suspension bikes, I feel like a suspension seat post can sometimes do the trick instead of adding all the weight, but I feel a decent amount of suspension back there on this bike. I do hear the fender bouncing around a little bit back there, so keep that in mind. But certainly these fat tires with the addition of the suspension make this trail much more doable. Let's get into our hill climb test, and we'll see how this beast does up our large hill. All right, this hill is absolutely massive. No, it's not the hill in Wisconsin for those that follow the channel, and we will see what the minimum speed is. We got up to 20 miles an hour. Hill starting now. All right, going down in speed, 15, 14, 13, 12. Remember, this bike is 90 pounds, 11, 10, and it looks like we are going to make it up. I don't think every e-bike is going to make it up this hill. This 90 newton meter, 750 watt motor on the Himiway can. And we are almost to the top. Minimum speed of 10 miles an hour. Though this is an electric bike after all, let's see how the torque sensor performs up this hill while pedaling. Here we go. I'm going to shift all the way down. I think I will need it. First gear. And Eco Plus, that's not going to do it. Let's go into Eco. Okay, I did feel a little bit of relief there, but still significant amount of effort to get up the hill. Let's go into Tour. I see the power bar going up a little bit there, but still. Let's go into Sport. Okay, Sport is a lot more doable. Still putting in a decent amount of effort, but I could still do this, but only going up 5 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and go into Turbo. Okay, I can tell that it's much more sensitive there. And yeah, I could go up this hill in Turbo and certainly not putting in a ton of effort. Going up at 6 miles an hour. Of course, if I put a little bit more power in, the motor does respond to that. But let's do a little experiment. All right, so I'm going to give myself just a little bit of throttle to get started, and then I can spin my legs. Here we go. So this is the main difference. With the Cadence sensor, I'm in Turbo, first gear, and the bike is using all of its power to get me up the hill. I'm not putting in any effort. So that is a great example of the difference of a cadence sensor and a torque sensor, especially on a hill. Pretty much guarantees that you're going to get the power from the motor that you want with the cadence sensor. All right, with that, let's get into some third-person riding footage. I'll give you the pros and cons of the Himiway D5 2.0.
The big draw of the Himiway D5 2.0 is of course its full suspension setup, but if you look closer, there are a lot of thoughtful extras throughout this bike that I really appreciate. At a price of $19.99, it competes very well in its class, and the current sale price of $17.99 makes it even more attractive. You can check the current pricing down in the description. Is the bike perfect? Not exactly, and I'll get into that, but here's why I think the D5 2.0 truly stands out. First, let's talk about the suspension. While we're not getting an air suspension fork, the RST Guide fork certainly stands above some of the other entry-level forks that I've tested. The rear suspension only added to the comfort, even though the component isn't from a brand name I recognize. The motor performed well in our hill climb test, and when it comes to pedaling, the level of customization is fantastic. It's great to see Himiway adopt the ability to use a cadence sensor or a torque sensor. Within the display, you can also dial in the power. Maybe you want to turn the power down for a little bit more of an accessible ride. The choice is yours. Plus, this motor is quiet, though remember you are rolling on big 4-inch fat tires, and that's a lot of rubber hitting the ground, so manage your expectations here. The modern lighting package is a nice touch. The front light is very bright, and the rear lights integrated into the seat stays with turn signals are a great feature, even if we've seen them before. The Tektro hydraulic disc brakes are also among my favorites that come on e-bikes around this price point. One surprise was the name brand tires from Maxxis. Haven't seen these yet before. Sure, they're a consumable item, but it's cool that Himiway sets you up with a quality tire right from the get-go. Plus, I'd expect them to last a little bit longer than some of the other fat tires we typically see. The rear rack is incredibly versatile for hauling cargo and is even MIC compatible, a feature those who love quick swapping accessories will appreciate. The huge total payload capacity of 400 pounds is also worth noting. The adjustable stem and slightly swept-back handlebars give the bike a little bit more of a cruiser feel, only if you want it though. I also really appreciate that Himiway made this bike available in a step-through, my preference for increased accessibility, or a high step. Now for the main considerations. The biggest one is probably the shorter seat post if you're a taller rider. My wife, who's 5'5", fit on it just fine, though it is still a big bike for her. The seat post issue can be fixed with an aftermarket replacement. Also note the average size battery. Normally on heavy fat tire e-bikes like this, we'd like to at least see the option for a larger battery to help compensate for the extra weight. And speaking of weight, if you're new to shopping for a fat tire e-bike, please take note of the weight. At 92 pounds, this one is certainly a beast to handle. But again, fat tire e-bikes are just heavy, that's a fact. Smaller gripes include the lack of a USB port for charging your phone. Also, I don't love the requirement of having to enter a password every time to access the advanced settings. This might not be a big deal if you're a set it and forget it rider, but some brands have allowed riders to, for example, quick swap between the torque and the cadence sensor with just the push of a button. Himiway is far from a new player in the e-bike space, but we don't have a great read on their customer support. If you have experience with Himiway support, please help us and others considering Himiway by dropping a comment below. Remember, if you decide to buy from Himiway, you can support us for free by using the link in the description. Thank you so much for your support. Overall, if you're looking for a comfortable, great-looking, full suspension and full-sized fat tire e-bike that comes in at a great price and offers a ton of customization, the Himiway D5 2.0 is absolutely worth checking out. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the D5 2.0 down in the comment section, and I will see you in the next one.